The Draconian warship Crimson Talon hung in orbit above Earth like a serrated blade against the stars. For 3 cycles, the dragon-like aliens had maintained their blockade, their scales gleaming obsidian and crimson under the pale light of Luna. Their message had been clear. Humanity would submit to the Draconian collective, or Earth would burn, on the ground, in the ruins of what was once Manhattan. Kathleen Martinez picked her way through rubble with the practiced ease of someone who'd survived the initial bombardment. At 19, she'd already buried her parents, watched her city crumble, and learned that hope was a luxury the world could no longer afford. But tucked in her jacket pocket was something ridiculous. A single quarter, dated 2019, with George Washington's profile worn smooth by countless transactions. "You're insane," Jamie Chen whispered beside her, his medkit bouncing against his hip as they approached the Draconian outpost. The 16-year-old had appointed himself her shadow ever since she'd pulled him from beneath a collapsed pharmacy. "They'll incinerate you for this disrespect." "Maybe," Kathleen said, her voice steady, "but I have to try." The outpost was a prefabricated structure of alien metal, pulsing with bioluminescent veins. 2 Draconian sentries flanked the entrance, each standing 12 feet tall, their reptilian features carved from nightmare and evolution, their eyes 3 on each side of their elongated skull stacked. Kathleen's approach with predatory precision. "I request audience with Chief Warmaster Vraxith," Kathleen announced, her voice carrying across the dead zone between rubble and alien territory. The sentry's translator implants flickered. One hissed, a sound like steam escaping from a broken pipe. "Humans do not request. They beg. They submit." "I'm here to hire him," Kathleen said, and produced the quarter. The silence that followed was profound. Even the distant sound of crumbling buildings seemed to pause. Jamie grabbed her arm, terror making his grip iron strong, but Kathleen shook him off gently. "You mock us," the second sentry growled, mandibles spreading to reveal rows of crystalline teeth. "No," Kathleen said, "I'm dead serious." They were not incinerated. Instead, they were escorted roughly with rifle equivalents pressed against their spines deep into the outpost. The corridors smelled of ozone and something spicy, almost Jamie stumbled twice. Kathleen kept her eyes forward. The chamber of Chief Warmaster Vraxith was vast, its ceiling lost in shadow. The Draconian leader himself was a mountain of muscle and scale, his hide marked with scars that told stories of 100 conquests. For arms each tipped with talons that could tear through starship hull plating, rested on the arms of a throne made from salvaged human architecture, concrete, rebar, and what looked like pieces of the Brooklyn Bridge. "Explain," Vraxith's voice rumbled through the chamber, "why I should not execute you for this insult." Kathleen stepped forward, the quarter held between thumb and forefinger. "This is legal tender. On Earth it represents value. I'm offering it as payment for your services." Vraxith's laugh was like an avalanche. 25 cents. "For the Chief Warmaster of the 7th Fleet, you value my service at less than the cost of your primitive caffeinated beverages." "No," Kathleen said quietly, "I value it at exactly what I can afford, because that's all I have left in this world." The laughter died. Vraxith leaned forward, his 3 eyes narrowing to slits on each side of his massive skull. "Speak your request, human child, before I tire of this comedy." Kathleen took a breath. Jamie's hand found hers, squeezing once for courage. "I want you to teach us how to fight back." The silence returned, heavier now, pregnant with danger. Vraxith's 4 arms tensed. Around the chamber, lesser Draconians shifted, hands moving toward weapons. "You dare," one started. Vraxith raised one massive claw, and silence crashed down like a hammer. His eyes never left Kathleen's face. "Elaborate." "Your people are warriors," Kathleen said. "The collective spans 3,000 systems because you're the best at what you do. You've conquered races that had technology we can't even imagine, but you've never conquered Earth, not really. We're still here, still fighting. That means we have something you recognize. Resilience," Vraxith rumbled. "Foolish, suicidal resilience." "Exactly," Kathleen said, and she smiled a thin, fierce expression. "We're going to lose. I know that. You know that. In a month, maybe 2, you'll grind us down to nothing. But what if we made it interesting? What if, instead of a slaughter, you faced an enemy that actually understood how to fight, that could adapt, learn, maybe even make you work for it?" Jamie stared at her. Vraxith tilted his head, an alien gesture of consideration. "You offer me a challenge." "I offer you glory," Kathleen corrected. "Every other species you've conquered folded or died quickly, boring, forgettable. But if you train us, teach us your tactics, your strategies, then when you finally win, you'll have earned it." and when your warriors return home, they won't talk about the pathetic humans who died like insects. They'll talk about the species that learned to bite back in their final days. And for this, Vraxith said slowly, you offer 25 cents. It's all I have, Kathleen repeated. But it's given freely, as payment for services rendered. Not tribute, not surrender, a transaction between equals. The War Master stared at her for what felt like an eternity. Then, with deliberate precision, he extended one massive claw. Give it to me. Kathleen placed the quarter in his palm. It looked absurdly tiny against his scales. Vraxith examined it, turning it over with surprising delicacy. George Washington, he read, the translator struggling with the English. First leader of your United Nation. A warrior who fought an empire and won. He closed his fist around the coin. Very well, Kathleen Martinez. I accept your payment, but know this, I will train you and your people. I will teach you everything, and when we finally face each other in true battle, I will hold nothing back. That is the only honorable response to your request. I wouldn't want it any other way, Kathleen said. Jamie finally found his voice. This is insane. You're helping them prepare to kill us better. No, Vraxith said, his eyes still on Kathleen. She is helping her people die as warriors, not cattle. There is a difference, and perhaps he paused, something almost like respect crossing his alien features. Perhaps your species will surprise us both. As they were escorted out, Jamie whispered, what did we just do? Kathleen watched the stars through a shattered window. We bought humanity one last chance to be remembered as something more than victims. For 25 cents. Behind them, in his throne room, Vraxith studied the tiny coin. In 1,000 conquests he had never received a payment quite like this, freely given, proudly offered, not as tribute, but as the price of respect. He smiled, or what passed for a smile among his kind. Humans, he murmured to the darkness. Perhaps we chose the wrong planet to conquer after all. END.